Good day, teachers. I am Ronald Valencia, and our topic is about supporting English learners in the mathematics classroom by Joanna Nicola. So, how can we support them in mathematics? By providing effective teaching, of course, introduce topics using multiple presentations, solve problems in many ways, and let the learners enjoy every discussion. And of course, and so many more effective and efficient ways for them to learn mathematics. So next is, when I describe my work to support mathematics teachers with students who are English learners, I often hear a similar reaction. People respond that mathematics class seems like a natural place for students who are English learners thrive. Mathematics is about numbers and pictures of shapes, not words. So there's a question. Why would mathematics teachers need support? So on the first paragraph that I read, let our students explore the mathematics and let them try to understand the lesson. And remember that in math, it is about all numbers, pictures, shapes, and not words. So there's a question. Let's go back to question. Why would mathematics teachers need support? So, the greater the challenge of mathematics, the greater the support. We all know, teachers, that mathematics is not simple, but it is good and enjoyable sometimes. And when our students are there to support us, it's so satisfying that we have students to support to our teaching in math. So next is the sentiment that mathematics class is a natural and important place for EL students to excel rings true. Yet words and language really are an integral part of students' experiences in learning mathematics. In fact, mathematics lessons can be packed with both academic and everyday language. So, the mathematics are good also for both academic and everyday language. Our learners not just only rely on words in everyday life, but of course, we need also the mathematics for our everyday routine or everyday lives. So, for example, students encounter words, problem, and task instructions. And teachers and students alike draw upon words to explain their mathematical thinking. For this reason, mathematics lessons are a fruitful place to carefully intertwine support for both the students' language development and their mathematical thinking. On this example provided, just like I said, they can solve the task by words or in mathematical thinking. There's a problem solving that meron siyang words but meron din siyang mathematics. And this problem provided supporting in both aspects is good. It is good for development of learners. As with all good teaching, teachers' knowledge and curiosity about the strengths and needs of each student are essential to providing students with appropriate support. The first thing that mathematics teachers can do is be aware that students who are English learners come with a wide array of experiences and needs, so that they can capitalize on those experiences and provide appropriate supports related to the needs. So in this part, we're not only talking and teaching to our students. We need some information about them, some interesting about them, so we can know some information about the strengths and needs or the capacity of our students, so that we can know that what kind of appropriate support that we can give to them in teaching mathematics. So Next is language proficiency. For example, teachers should find out students' English language proficiency level as defined by their state district, WIDA, World Class Instructional Design and Assessment. Levels provide one example. Teachers must keep in mind, however, that these levels do not describe all the strengths and needs of individual students. Students will speak different languages, which, for example, may not include cognates that could be helpful in the mathematics classroom. Example is quadrilatero in Spanish, 4 in English, apat sa Tagalog. So expect that your English learners they have different language. Furthermore, teachers must work to understand the nuances of individual students' language used in the mathematics classroom. Students may vary in their experience with writing and speaking, the forms of productive language, and reading and listening, forms of receptive language. To ensure that the student fully participates in the classroom mathematical discourse, it is essential that teachers fully integrate both productive and receptive language into mathematical lessons. In the language proficiency, the learners has different language, like the I said a while ago, like the quadrilatero in Spanish, 4 in English, apat sa Tagalog, and so on language. So as the teacher, we must know those language that is still connected on math. It is essential for us teachers to have a broad knowledge when it comes to teaching in mathematics. The two forms that I said, the two forms is productive and receptive language. This is useful because it can cover all the basic skills of learners: the writing, the speaking, the reading, and listening. So next is educational background. In addition to students' language proficiency, teachers should seek to understand students' previous school experiences. Some students may have had interrupted formal schooling. Others may have been in the school system for years, even though their English language are not yet proficient. The kinds of support that these two types of students need will be quite different. The more we learn about our students come from, the easier the job will become. This includes learning about their previous schooling, their language, and their environment on the subjects. This knowledge will help for the better support to our students in the classroom. By getting to know each student's needs, teachers can the teachers can integrate strategies that will enable EL students to engage deeply in mathematics learning. So, for example, Miss Henderson's class, they benefit from Miss Henderson's use of pictures or acting out the plot of a word problem. Alejandro does not need these supports, but he does need help explaining his mathematical thinking. Miss Henderson gives Alejandro opportunities to rehearse his explanations with a partner and provides him with sentence starters that scaffold the wording of the expectations. So in this example provided, you see that every student needs a support. Not all of our discussion, the learners know it very well. So let's go back to educational background. It is the aspect that we should know our students, their background about learning, so that we can provide sufficient and appropriate support for them to learn mathematics. So, next is the 3 instructional principles that can guide thinking about support for English learners students have emerged from our work. So, the first one is engage students with challenging mathematics tasks. Second is support the development of students' language in mathematics. Number 3, the last, employ and support multimodal representation or communication such as speaking, writing, diagramming, gesturing, etc. So next is, the first one is engaging all students, including those who are English learners, in challenging mathematical work. The principle 1 means providing sufficient language access to students so that their mathematical learning opportunities are supported rather than compromised. The language may need to be simplified, but the mathematics should not be. So these three aspects of these 3 principles, will benefit all students, but they are essential for English learners students. So the first one is, first, engage students with challenging mathematics tasks or works. It means that by providing them sufficient knowledge for students so their math skills will improve and it will be challenging tasks for them to learn more, so they can learn more about mathematics. If our students failed once, twice, thrice, it's okay. If they failed, let them try again until they figure it out what is the correct answers on the problems. Of course, as a teachers, you need to support them by teaching them and supporting them. Next is the principle 2, supporting EL students' language development. Like I said, supporting English learners in mathematics classroom. Principle 2 is accomplished through word banks that are jointly constructed by students and teacher within the context of work on a particular mathematics task. Sentence starters, rejoicing, multiple rates of mathematical problems, etc. Students also develop their mathematical language through opportunities to produce that language, which means that they must be given frequent opportunities to use written language and hear oral language individually, in pairs, and in larger group of discussion. So, second, supporting AL students' language development. Language helps children make sense when they need to use mathematics. Throughout the development of mathematical ideas, we must keep the language growing. As the language grows, the picture of the idea broadens, and the thinking of the students will expand. Students also develop their mathematical language through opportunities to produce the language, which means they must be given frequent opportunities to use written language in here, oral language individually, in pairs, or in larger group of discussions. The use of multimodal representation in the mathematics classroom. The principle 3. So, supports both of the first 2 principles. For example, opportunities to explain thinking around a visual representation such as a mathematical diagram permit the students to use the diagram to understand the mathematics and also provide visual support for the students' explanations of his or her thinking. So the third, multimodal representation in mathematics classroom. These principles for the first 2 principles. the first principle, the second principle, in mathematical diagram and language explanation. Using a multimodal approach highlights the semantic connections between the different forms of representation often used in mathematics classroom. The language, the symbols, number, and other visual representations. So next is, it sometimes takes work to follow the line of thinking that the student is trying to express, especially if the student struggles with verbalizing his thinking. Even after determining what the student's thinking, it can be tricky to figure out which instructional strategies will keep the students engaged in challenging mathematical tasks while developing their language. The principle 1 and principle 2. That work is well worth the effort. However, it supports the teacher in determining the additional follow-up and support needed to build on the student's thinking. And best of all of this principle, it supports the students in continuing to develop their own mathematical thinking and communication. I found that it's incredibly helpful to keep their focus on the mathematical ideas or seeds of thinking that are embedded in the topic that students are thinking and talking about. When you do that, we can work to employ the 3 principles described above, keeping students engaged in challenging mathematical work while developing their communication skills with the aid of a variety of modes of communication and visual to support their learning. So that's it, guys. That's it, teachers. I hope that you learned something about my presentation.